And our opening words this morning are by Orlando Brugnola. Here find a house of welcoming. Here find vision and hope. Here be received as you truly are, unique and beautiful. Your journey acknowledged, your love honored. Let us rejoice together. Shoot, I can't remember her name. What is her name? Darn, here she comes. What is it, Sally? Sue? She just told me yesterday. What's the matter with me? This is going to be embarrassing. In case you haven't noticed, you have a mental dialogue going on inside your head that never stops. It just keeps going and going. Have you ever wondered why it talks in there? How does it decide what to say and when to say it? How much of what it says turns out to be true? How much of what it says is even important? And if right now you are hearing, I don't know what she's talking about, I don't have a voice in my head, that's the voice. These are the opening words of the book I've been reading this week, The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. Singer challenges us to start noticing our inner voices, to step back and watch them converse. Wasn't I supposed to call Fred? Oh, I should have. Oh my God, I can't believe I forgot. He's going to be so mad. He may never talk to me again. Maybe I should call him right now. No, I can't call him now. I'm in church. Notice that the voice takes both sides of the conversation. It doesn't care which side it takes, just as long as it gets to keep on talking. When you're tired and trying to sleep, it's the voice inside your head that says, "What am I doing? I can't go to sleep yet. I forgot to call Fred." So if the first step is to notice our voice, the second step is to ask ourselves, why do we put up with it? Why do you even tolerate that voice talking to you all the time, asks Singer. Even if what it's saying is soothing and nice, it's still disturbing everything you're doing. But let's be honest with ourselves. The voice is not always soothing and nice. Sometimes it says things like, "Oh look, isn't that tree pretty?" But other times it's mean. "You're not good enough," it says. "You are fat. You don't know what you're talking about. He doesn't like you. She's mad at you." And we listen. Boy, do we listen. We take everything our voice tells us as fact, even if it changes and says the opposite later. And we give our full attention to the voice, don't we? It takes us away from whatever we're doing, even if we're enjoying ourselves. And no matter how much trouble it causes, we listen. Singer asks, have you ever bothered to check its credentials? How many times has that voice been totally wrong? His questions remind me of those old quips, "Don't believe everything you think," and "Question authority, start with yourself." Good advice. This is at the heart of the untethered soul. So many of us are controlled by that inner dialogue. At the very least, we are distracted by it. But we don't have to be. We don't have to listen. There is nothing more important to true growth than realizing that you are not the voice of the mind, Singer says. You are the one who hears it. You are not your thoughts. You are the one who is aware of your thoughts. And if that is true, then when that voice chimes in, you don't have to listen. You are not your thoughts. You are the one who is aware of your thoughts. The thoughts will come, the voice will chatter. Notice, then let it go. This isn't very different than what we learn in meditation practices. Thoughts will arise, acknowledge them, then let them go. If you are counting, return to 1. Return to the breath. The Tao Te Ching is a classic Chinese text. According to tradition, it was written around the 6th century BC by the sage Lao Tzu. It is written in short chapters, and this morning I offer pieces of a translation by Stephen Mitchell. Chapter 3. If you overesteem great men, people become powerless. If you overvalue possessions, people begin to steal. The master leads by emptying people's minds and filling their cores, by weakening their ambition and toughening their resolve. He helps people lose everything they know, everything they desire, and creates confusion in those who think that they know. Practice not doing, and everything will fall into place. Practice not doing, and everything will fall into place. Let go of what you think you know. Empty your mind. It's not just the voice that we need to detach from, it is also our emotional responses. Jealousy arises. We can notice it, then let it go. Fear arises. We can notice it, then let it go. Despair arises. We can notice it, then let it go. Even when joy arises, we can notice it, then let it go. If we cling to it, we will be disappointed when it is gone. Michael Singer's premise is this: if we let go of the emotions created by our experiences, they move through us, and we are free to experience the next moment fully. If we don't let go of the emotions created by our experiences, they stay within us as blocked energies. And the next time something happens that is anything like that first experience, we can't move through it. We can't let it go. We get stuck. The blocked energies swirl around inside us, causing stress and discomfort. Eventually, we end up spending incredible amounts of energy on those blocked spaces. We can spend lifetimes working through them, and we can get trapped by habit energy, repeating unhealthy patterns and thoughts over and over again. So how do we learn to let the energy move freely through us? How do we get unstuck? The key is to practice with the small things, he says. So someone cuts you off in traffic. You feel yourself getting angry. You have 2 options. You can focus on the anger, let it consume the next half hour of your drive, and speak harshly when you answer the phone an hour later. Or you can let it go. Notice that you are beginning to feel angry, but let it end there. Let that anger pass through you so it doesn't take up any more of your precious energy. Remember, blocked energies pile up. Eventually, when you have practiced enough on those small things, start letting go of bigger things. A coworker criticized your work. Let it go. A friend canceled your dinner plans. Let it go. The person you have been dating decides to call it off. Grieve, fume, sulk, then let it go. Holding on to your negative emotions is not going to change your situation. It's only going to hold you back. Now, this all sounds easy, and I know it's not at all. And it hinges on a major change in framework from our usual thinking. It requires us to believe that we have control over our ability to be happy. That it is not our life experiences that determine our happiness. It is our response to them. Chapter 10. Can you coax your mind from its wandering and keep to the original oneness? Can you let your body become supple as a newborn child's? Can you cleanse your inner vision until you see nothing but the light? Can you love people and lead them without imposing your will? Can you deal with the most vital matters by letting events take their course? Can you step back from your own mind and thus understand all things? Giving birth and nourishing, having without possessing, acting with no expectations, leading and trying not to control. This is the supreme virtue. Singer says, if you want to be happy, you have to let go of the part of you that wants to create melodrama. This is the part that thinks there's a reason not to be happy. You have to transcend the personal, and as you do, you will naturally awaken to the higher aspect of your being. Almost all religious traditions talk about this spiritual awakening, enlightenment, Buddha nature, the God within you, experiencing oneness, reconnecting with Source. To me, putting a name on it or having this as a goal is too intimidating. It seems too distant and lofty, and a little self-congratulatory even. So disconnected from me choosing not to remain angry at the person who cuts me off in traffic. But the idea of having an untethered soul, the idea of choosing happiness, the prospect of letting go of judgment is also exciting, inspiring, liberating. So I'm not going to give up on it. Chapter 16. Empty your mind of all thoughts. Let your heart be at peace. Watch the turmoil of beings, but contemplate their return. Each separate being in the universe returns to the common source. Returning to the source is serenity. If you don't realize the source, you stumble in confusion and sorrow. When you realize where you come from, you naturally become tolerant, disinterested, amused, kind-hearted as a grandmother, dignified as a king. Immersed in the wonder of the Tao, you can deal with whatever life brings you, and when death comes, you are ready. We have a few copies of the Untethered Soul at the spirit shelf downstairs. If you want to read more of what Michael Singer has to say, check it out. And because my sacred sources come not only from ancient religious traditions and books on spirituality, but also from pop culture and fiction. Let me end by telling you a little bit about a movie I just watched called About Time. It's a great film. The main character is Tim, a young, sweet, and awkward British bloke who is desperate for a girlfriend, but not very suave with the ladies. Everything changes for Tim when he comes of age and his father lets him in on a big family secret, that the men in his family have the ability to travel through time. They can't go back to, say, the Middle Ages, but they can go back within their own lifetimes and make changes. Although he is skeptical, Tim sees right away that if his father is telling the truth, if this isn't just the biggest practical joke his dad has ever played on him, then he has just been given an incredible opportunity. It doesn't take Tim long to use his newfound power to get himself a girlfriend. He goes back in time to the New Year's Eve party where he didn't kiss the girl at midnight, and he does kiss her. She doesn't end up being his girlfriend, but it gives him confidence. Later, he goes back in time to an accidental run-in with the most beautiful girl he has ever met. And this time, instead of saying, "Oh, you have the same name as my mother," he comes up with something more charming. Over the years, Tim uses his time travel gift to go back countless times to create do-overs for himself and for others. And life gets better. Fast forward a bit to the end of the movie. Apologies to those of you who haven't seen it yet. The girl with the same name as Tim's mother is now his wife. They have 2 beautiful children. Tim's father is nearing the end of his life, and he wants to pass on the secret to time travel that he has discovered. Don't go back and fix every little thing, his father tells him. Don't go back only to the amazing moments that you want to experience again and again. Tim's father stopped doing both of those things years ago. Now, he says, at the end of every day, he goes back and experiences each one again. This time, letting go of all the little annoyances, worries, and stresses. Knowing that everything will be okay in the end, and that very little matters in the grander scheme, he experiences each day again, more open to the joys in it, more patient with those around him, less distracted by the annoyances. Tim tries his father's approach for a while until he gets the hang of it. The second time around, the day is always better. And then he realizes, if he lives the first day more intentionally, he doesn't really need the second day. You see, in the end, making the most out of life may not require time travel at all. It simply requires being truly present in the present, living openly and fully each moment that we are offered. Singer says, "The beauty of embracing deep truths is that you don't have to change your life. You just change how you live your life." Chapter 67. Some say that my teaching is nonsense. Others call it lofty but impractical. But to those who have looked inside themselves, this nonsense makes perfect sense. And to those who put it into practice, this loftiness has roots that go deep. I have just 3 things to teach: simplicity, patience, compassion. These 3 are your greatest treasures. Simple in actions and in thoughts, you return to the source of being. Patient with both friends and enemies, you accord with the way things are. Compassionate toward yourself, you reconcile all beings in the world. May it be so. Amen, and blessed be.